So, project overview. We're going to go over Avalanche because it's seriously hot right now. Let's cover it. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe as well if you like my content. And most importantly, leave the bell notification slapped on. It helps, right? Because today I'm going to go over what is happening. Mondays are project overview day. You've probably noticed a lot of effort has gone into this video, so please do give it a nice little thumbs up. It will help majorly. Wednesdays, education, and Fridays, price analysis. I want to make it different. I'm sick of the content that I'm doing. I'm kind of losing the kind of love for it. I want to go back down to my grassroots of researching projects, telling you about certain things, education mainly. So a Monday, as I say, educating you on what a project is. A Wednesday will be educational style stuff, and a Friday will be technical analysis, but in an educational format, doing price analysis. It makes so much more sense. There's too much crap in the space right now, and this is the first one, the maiden one. However, Wednesday's video, by the way, will be a little bit different. I'm going to go back over what I said in 2020 about 2021. So yeah, that'll be fun. I did say Chainlink would fall out the top 10. It's fallen a bit more than that. Anyways, into the video we go. As I've said, this is a presentation. I put a lot of hours into this. It looks pretty cool. I do like it, so enjoy. So, welcome back to the screen. Now, let's talk about it. I've done a lot of information or kind of gathering from recommended sources. We're going to talk about Avalanche, okay? So if you are an investor and you like it and you like this presentation, cool. However, I am not going too deep. Just a little bit of a surface scratch, okay, which would be pretty cool for some people. Now, let's talk about disclaimers first, because it's always important. Disclaimer, this is not a paid sponsor. I wish it was. It'd be awesome, wouldn't it? However, everything you see in this video literally has been taken from approved sources only. So I know I will get people that will say, you haven't mentioned this or you've not done that. However, I've not made anything up. It is literally from their main website and their main documentation from the team itself. So please do your own research before investing. I am not a financial advisor, and I'm also not an investor in this project, unfortunately. However, I wish I was, because I've known about it for a long time, and I wish I listened to certain people back in the day on Facebook in 2019 when this ICO was going out. Bummer. Anyways, what is it? More to the point. So it's a blazing fast, low cost, an eco-friendly platform. It is a smart contract platform in the blockchain industry as measured by time to finality, and has the most validated securing its activity out of any proof of stake protocol. So already you're probably thinking it's a competitor to Ethereum. Yeah, it also is a part of the Ethereum virtual machine language. So guess what, boys and girls, it can utilize the world of Web 3.0 interoperability with Ethereum and also other blockchains, which makes it pretty good, which is probably why the price has risen so much, which is probably why we do need to talk about it in quite a bit of length, which is why this video is here. Moving on, what is actually possible though with Avalanche? So it is an open programmable, there we go, smart contract platform for decentralized applications. So as I've just said, a part of that Ethereum kind of bubble there. It's certainly a rival to it, and I know we shouldn't compare certain things, but this is the most, in my opinion, likeness. Whereas too many people compare Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is like, why? This is more to the point. Now, as you can see here, build fast, low cost, Ethereum enabled compatible dApps. Launching Ethereum dApps that confirm transactions instantly is a huge plus. And obviously the ability to scale it as well, more to the point. So when you think about Ethereum and how bloaty it is and how slow and sluggish it can be, well, this kind of solves that problem already, one tick in the box. Launch your own customized blockchain, whether they are private or public, and deploy them on your own applications, your own virtual machine to dictate exactly how these blockchains should operate. So you've already got the framework to literally customize, build, and do whatever the hell you want, whether that is privately or public. And the obvious, let's talk about it. Scale to millions of validators with minimal hardware. Decentralization, simple as that. The ability to stake, lock up, and to obviously help others do the transactional bias on the network, you do not want to have a failure on that for obvious reasons. That is where hacks will kind of come about. And it's important. Decentralization is huge. And you don't really see many problems with this blockchain. Touch wood, anyways. Moving on to the next part. What does make it unique? And this is kind of a bit of a head mess around in terms of getting used to it. So it actually consists of 4 chains. There's actually 3 that are live, but there's also a test version of these as well, which is hugely important. So we've got X chain, you've got C chain, and you've got P chain. Each chain has a purpose, which obviously stops the bloat and the clogging, which will enable things to scale. Obviously, you can see there, it says on the screen, a totally different approach from the legacy chains, which essentially are Bitcoin and Ethereum, as each node validates all transactions. Avalanche blockchains even have a different consensus mechanism, which is important for their use cases. So each individual use case will be run in a different way. And then you've got what I've kind of alluded to already. It is one of Ethereum's rivals, aiming to unseat Ethereum as a popular blockchain for smart contracts. It aims to do this by having a higher transactional output of 6,500 per second, which is huge, and obviously for scalability, we're not compromising any wiggle room there. That is from the CoinMarketCap website. Now, when we talk about rival, don't get confused with the likes of Polkadot or Atom or whatever. This will be an enabler on that as well. Interoperability. So you may well find, yes, it's communicating and talking with Ethereum as well with their smart contracts. There's obviously other contracts out there as well on different chains. It's all fully built to enable interoperability as well. So there's a lot of things to kind of go on why this is also more scalable than other solutions out there, in my opinion. Use cases. Obviously, we need to talk about these. Decentralized finance is the first one. You know, as it says on the screen, it's rapidly growing, and the limitations of just one chain alone, which is essentially mainly Ethereum at the moment, even still, there's a lot on Ethereum blockchains, right? The downside to that is obviously the lack of compounding effect, the ability to claim and to be able to utilize and put it at work on certainly on the chain itself, it's quite a pain in the ass, but this enables it to kind of work better, utilizing even those Ethereum contracts for the likes of, as you can see on the screen, asset assurance, you know, market makers, lending, borrowing, decentralized platforms, derivatives, insurance, peer-to-peer payments, la la la. You get the picture, right? So when we start talking about a solution, and we could talk about a lot of blockchains like this where there's a product on Ethereum, for example, and it's very, very expensive to claim and then therefore transfer the ERC20 standard essentially to another blockchain or to another exchange, whatever. Avalanche will be a big problem solver in that kind of functionality. The next one is obviously the institutions, enterprises, and governments. So the ability for things to be built on top of it, utilizing their ecosystem, their blockchains, their whole framework, right? You've got asset assurance and trading, debt finances, digital identity, document tracking, fund management, insurance, intellectual property, lending, real estate, supply chain, and most importantly, trade finance, right? It's pretty scary when you think like you've got a whole world, and I've mentioned this in a video before, a whole world of companies, traditional markets and whatnot, not utilizing blockchain yet because the capabilities are kind of there, but not quite there as like future proof. Avalanche could be one of the main ones that they could be utilizing because the scalability issues have been ticked. You could probably argue maybe first before anyone else to kind of utilize that, you know, that chain. Then this can also go, well, we can put this on Atom, we can put this on Polkadot, we can put it on the BSC, we can do all kinds of stuff and then get even more functionality and more kind of choices that are available for everyone, which makes it huge, right? Realistically. And finally, the most obvious thing at the moment is digital collectibles, NFTs, making and minting and creating all kinds of stuff of a digital kind of ownership and a streamlined view flow, create art, share collectibles, all kinds of stuff, right? So you got art, licenses, collectibles, credentials, in-game items, and most importantly as well, for some people, music and other stuff as well. So there's a lot to go on even already, and it's still a very, very young chain in my opinion. But let's compare, because we've talked a lot about Ethereum, we talked about even Polkadot. You know, the ability to have, you know, blockchains is huge, right? Legacies, BTC, Ethereum, you could probably argue Litecoin and others out there as well. You know, they're not very energy efficient, you know, especially Ethereum 1.0. Obviously, Ethereum is going to update, but we don't know the full benchmark of that just yet. But you can see here kind of where the elements are. Now, for me, I wouldn't really put Polkadot in this sort of situation because essentially Avalanche could go on Polkadot as a layer 0 as well and be utilized on a parachain if it needs to, if it wants to, which is kind of an important thing where it's got a little bit more scale. If it needs to, it doesn't have to. But you can see here the differences between the chains, right? It's fast, it's efficient, you know, it's got great energy efficiency. It's got a load of nodes, as you can imagine, thousands of them, which is huge for decentralization. And obviously the safety threshold is totally different. So in my opinion, it's pretty damn rock solid. You know, you can't really, there's a load of change you can compare on this. And also don't get bogged down with the speed. Speed doesn't really matter realistically. Like you could have a 1 for 1,000 transactions per second, but long as it works and it's pretty efficient, it's fine. Some blockchains market it saying they've got like 100,000 transactions per second. Realistically, are we going to use it? Probably not. Let's be honest here. Moving on to the team now. I'm not going to go through each individual person because that'll be boring for everyone. But you can see here they've got a world-class team of computer science, economics, finances, all kinds of random stuff, right? Huge. And they've got offices and law offices in New York City, which is hugely important as well, especially in the framework of the SEC and stuff like that, and Miami. Passionate individuals creating frictionless world by defining on the way people look and build and utilize financial applications, right? You can see here already, right? Ex-members from the world of Microsoft, Google, you know, you got blooming NASA in there, you got, you know, Bitcoin.com, AT&T, Cisco, oh God, ridiculous amount of experience there alone. So it's important to note that a good team, a good infrastructure, a good foundation of experience is hugely important here. Moving on to something that not many people will understand or know, but if you go on CoinMarketCap, you can find out where to buy it, because I often get asked this question if I ever do any sort of like overview. People are like, where do I buy it? Well, you can buy it on Binance, you can buy it on Coinbase, KuCoin, Huobi, Crypto.com, FTX, OKX, and obviously Gate as well, plus others. There's loads like Bitfinex, there's loads of exchanges, Bittrex, Poloniex, loads. Also, they have their own wallet, they have an Avalanche wallet. You can also store it on your Ledger or your Trezor. Now, end in peace. We're going to go and look at the charts. We're going to have a little look. Value proposition. Is it undervalued? Is it overvalued? What should you do? What sort of levels could you kind of potentially aim for? Certainly if the market takes a bit of a wobble. It is hot right now, but things do tend to come down eventually over time. So yeah, maybe keep it in your back pocket. So as I've said, keep it maybe in your back pocket because this is going parabolic. This is a log scale right now on the monthly time frame. It's hugely pumping right now. Even so, with the market a little bit bearish, it has kind of pumped off. And this is the weekly time frame, right? So if we're going to look at some longer term biases here, I think we have topped out, or near enough topped out in my opinion. For now, right? It's important to note that we've had a monstrous run. Like you could think you could have bought this at like $9 in July, which is why I think it's probably best to cover something like this to kind of give people a full-on education that, right, this is the project, this is potentially what you could be buying. However, be mindful that we could melt or we could carry on going. I know that's very, very subjective and such a YouTuber sort of response, but adoption is important, but also market sentiment is also key. The market sentiment right now, I'm a bit iffy. I'll be honest with you. Why? Because if we go into lockdowns again and with COVID, we'll get a wobble in the stock market. Therefore, some of the backlash will fall with us. Projects that have done huge, long-lasting pumps will most likely suffer as well, which is also important to know. So I don't want to give you false hope saying, oh yeah, great, cool, because in terms of market capitalization, it's a very, very valuable asset right now. But ultimately, it needs to correct, and this is where we are. It has gone parabolic, but it's also retraced quite aggressively down to $75, and now it's kind of pumped. So we may well have actually created a lower high here. So we may be looking at some potential corrections overall in the grand scheme of things. If we're looking at what's happened here as well, we've actually rested essentially on the 618 level from this impulse around $88, and obviously we wicked a lot lower. But if this is a failure, by the way, we could be falling lower. And I don't want to say we're going to go back down, but we could see some pretty nice numbers, certainly if you're an investor looking longer term. So what would I do? Well, I'm looking at this level alone, right? This level already, I've kind of just pinpointed it a little bit. Huge level. That level there as like a ledge could be a great place to start some dollar cost averaging. Yeah, it could go higher, but also the risk reward of it, like in the future, it'll dribble away because it's going to get higher the market cap, the more interest it's going to get, and the more it'll obviously create some more millionaires from the people lower down. Therefore, they'll take profit and dump on you, essentially. So just be careful where you are buying this. But let's go on a simple kind of like element here, because I want to look at a few things. First things first, the first impulse wave. We had this low to high. And what happened was, and I'll show you, we had a nice impulse. We pulled back quite aggressively to the 382 here, which is where this level foundation is based from. And you can see we rejected around the 618, the 0.618, the extension levels, give or take. Obviously, we went a bit higher with the wicks, but we have actually rejected from that point. So other areas we can also look at, and I don't want to kind of be too doom and gloom on this, but we've got to look a little bit lower as well, because if we're thinking hindsight is a beautiful thing, look at this level here where it's been a level of consolidation around that weekly time frame, but also where it's rested right now in the current scheme of things. It's certainly where this has been in the past, but that level is going to be also important, and I want to see if that level is any sort of confluence of any sort of framework. The reason why I say that is because if we're looking at this level here, going for this low into this point here again, this is also important to note that we corrected and we pumped massively. We went all the way above, but look at how this level has now acted as level resistance, and also where these supports have also been. And again, you can see exactly this level here, this 0.618, in and around where that level is. So there's definitely some places where you can think there's confluence here, but the one thing that we need to look at, and this is it, it's simply where we are right now. This level here to this impulse, this pullback, look at where we stopped nearly. We nearly hit that 618 level, right? Huge. And look at where the extension levels are on these ones. So you got $31, not far away from that. And again, 0.272 in and around where that level is. So maybe we could be looking at 3 obvious levels, right, on this impulse move. Why is it important? I'm going to move these with lines in a minute. We've got this level here, rejection, $75. We've got this level here where it's been an obvious support level and resistance level, roughly around $56. And then you got the big one right at the end there, which is about $35, give or take, around this point here. So maybe. So I'm going to put them on that wick there. We'll put that one in and around where these wicks have been as well. These are levels of demand potentially where things could get a bit tasty, right? Now, these may never happen. These levels may not come in. There's obviously a bull market. There's obviously a growing, element here. But we've got to think dollar cost average. You do not want to buy too high because you will get annihilated. Even if you're not using leverage, it's disgusting. It's pumped massively. So you got to look at these levels. I'm genuinely considering it because I do like this project a lot. If we start seeing going below $74, $75, I'll start looking at this with a lot more detail. And I was starting to think maybe there's an opportunity to get in here for the long term. And certainly if you start looking, and I don't want to be too doom and gloom, but if a bear market does set in the next 6 months, this might be an opportunity where you think, right, keep an eye on it. As long as the fundamentals don't change, as long as the team don't just run away and it all dries up and goes to absolute turd, it'll be all right. It will survive, depending on how big the development fund is, depending on how many validators there are, depending on how good the utility is. There's a high chance it probably will be absolutely fine, but opportunities will arise. Remember, projects will go up and down. Ethereum's done it, Cardano's done it, the likes of VeChain and other big projects from the old bull run have survived, no bother at all. And they've also made a lot of money on the way, way down and on the way back up again. So enjoy. Those are 3 price levels I would interestingly look at. They have Fibonacci confluence, also have structure confluence. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, please do leave a like, give it a share. And yeah, a lot of effort gone into this one, but I hope it has been worth it.